So in this short lecture, we're going to talk a little bit about how to avoid two really annoying pronouns that confuse and frustrate readers. So let's get into it with you. It's a very tempting pronoun to use in your paper because it has such a universal quality. We often, when we say you, mean me, or different groups of people that are difficult to identify. But it's also a dangerous pronoun because it can really alienate your reader because it calls out your reader directly. So when you say you, the reader's going to say me, and if what you say doesn't apply to the reader, then you've lost the reader. And your vagueness has undermined, your vagueness has undermined the reader's confidence in you. So what we want to do is we want to try to substitute you with a specific noun that refers to an individual person or a group of people. We can also use the first person, I or we, as a resolution to this vagueness of you. So let's look at an example. That's a classic you sentence. You can read it for yourself. Up there's you. So I'm not going to sit here and read it to you, but you can see there that there's two pronouns, two you pronouns in that sentence, and they're both kind of vague and confusing. So here's a possible rewrite. We substitute students, plural, for you. And notice how students are paired with the plural pronoun they. This is something to keep in mind. When students resort to you or one in a paper, it's often because they're in that awkward situation where they say, when a student attends classes, he or she commits him or herself to an intellectual challenge. And as a way of avoiding that weird effort to balance gender and offer multiple phrasings, we resort to you instead. And a quick workaround for that is instead of doing you, go to they, go to the plural form. And I think you'll find that often works. And then, of course, you can also go to first person. If when you were saying you in your paper, you actually meant me, you could say, when I attend classes, I commit myself. So we substitute the I's, and we substitute the plural students for the vague you. Specific for vague. Let's try it again. Here's another sample sentence. You can see the pronoun you popping up in that sentence 3 times. If we go with a specific noun instead, we focus on employees. Notice again the plural, because it's easier to use they and them than it is to use he, she, him, her, etc. And finally, the personal first person, singular or plural, also can work as a rewrite of a sentence with yous in it that are confusing to a sentence with specific nouns or first person pronouns to clarify that vagueness. Let's take a look at one. One works in many of the same ways. There's a classic one sentence at the top of the slide there. You're sort of avoiding committing yourself. Maybe it's the singular plural dilemma. Maybe you want to avoid you, and so you turn to one instead. But one raises the question, one what? One gerbil, one angry bird, one disgruntled post office employee. What is the one you're referring to about? So what I recommend is you replace one with a specific noun, or again, a first person pronoun like I or we. And here we have a sentence that resolves it. If job searchers consider the possibilities, they must admit that work at Starbucks is better than no work at all. And we get a very specific group here, job searchers. And again, the plural works much more easily than the singular a job searcher because you avoid the he, she, him, her problems. Okay, so let's look at one and how we can use it to make some changes and make some clarifications. So there's our original problematic one sentence. And here's a possible rewrite that substitutes it. Now here you see a choice where the revision uses a singular noun, employee, and you're stuck with that his or her thing. So that's one of the reasons that we're often going to prefer to tidy up the sentence in a way that gets rid of that his or her, like this example here, or go with the plural, which really is the easiest and cleanest solution. All right, so and we can also fix one by using I or we. Here's a problematic one sentence. How can I transform that into a clearer sentence? Well, if it turns out I really meant us, we, you, me, lots of other people, I can go that way. And also if I'm really talking about me, I can keep it on that individual personal level. So there you have it, a quick look at some strategies for rewriting you and one to get rid of those vague pronouns and add either specific nouns or clearer personal first-person pronouns. Thanks a lot. See you soon.